Hello students, Jinali Shah welcomes you all on behalf of Saraswat International Academy. Today we will begin with the next chapter, that is biodiversity and conservation. So first of all, biodiversity. What do we mean by the term biodiversity? Bio means living organism. Diversity means variety, different forms. So basically various types of organism inhabit the earth, that is called as the biodiversity. Now we need to conserve that biodiversity. How will we conserve that biodiversity? So we will be studying in this present chapter. So let us begin with the chapter biodiversity and conservation. First of all, the introductory part of the chapter. If an alien from distant galaxy were to visit our planet Earth, the first thing that would amaze and baffle him would most probably the enormous diversity of life that he would encounter. Say for example, some alien from distant galaxy visits Earth. So first thing he would be amazed and confused to know will be the various life forms which are present on the earth. Even for humans, the rich variety of living organisms with which they share this planet never ceases to astonish and fascinate us. Not only for alien, चलो alien तो दूर की बात हुई, we human beings also, that we share this planet with the variety of living organism. The common man would find it hard to believe that there are more than 20,000 species of ant, 3 lakh species of beetles, 28,000 species of fishes and nearly 20,000 species of orchids. See students, these numbers are very important for boards as well as for your need. So, it is said that there are nearly 20,000 species of ant, 3 lakh species of beetles, 28 species of fishes and approximately 20,000 species of orchids. Ecologists and evolutionary biologists have been trying to understand the significance of such diversity by asking important question. Now जो भी ecologist है, evolutionary biologist है, they have been trying to understand the diversity, or they have been trying to understand the significance of diversity by asking various questions. So which are those questions? Like, why are there so many species? The question arises कि इतने सारे species क्यों है? Why are there many species of organism? उसका conclusion ये आ सकता है कि due to the different environmental conditions, then genetic variations की वजह से there are lots many of species. Did such great diversity exist throughout the earth's history? Now second question, कि जब से evolution start हुआ है, कि जब से earth का evolution हुआ है and वो earth पे जब life forms exist हुए, तो पहले भी क्या उतनी ही biodiversity थी जो अभी है? So इसका आंसर नहीं, नो होता है. अभी के जो diversity, it is more compared to the previous forms. How this diversification came about? ये diversification के लिए responsible क्यों है? Diversification के लिए natural changes responsible है, anthropogenic changes responsible है, variations responsible है, genes responsible है. Okay. How and why this biodiversity is important to biosphere? Now why is this biodiversity important to biosphere? It is important to run the ecosystem. Would it function any differently if the diversity was much less? Yes. अगर diversity कम होती, then the functioning of the ecosystem would be also different. How do humans benefit from the diversity of life? What is the importance of biodiversity to the human beings? We get each and every product from nature. जैसे फूड है, इंडस्ट्रियल प्रोडक्ट्स है, मेडिसिन है, कुछ भी चीज़ें वी आर डिपेंडेंट ऑन द नेचर. सो yes, biodiversity is very useful to the nature. Now Let us begin with the main topic, biodiversity. In our biosphere, immense diversity or heterogeneity exists not only at the species level but all the levels of biological organization, ranging from macromolecules within the cell to biomes. Very important, students. What is basically biodiversity? It is a diversity not only at the species level but at all the level of the biological organization. Now students, we have studied the biological organization. एक पूरी hierarchy हमने study की थी. What was that hierarchy? The first components are macromolecules, right? Macromolecules will form the organelles of the cells. These organelles of the cells will form the cell. Cell will form what? It will form the tissue. What will tissue form? It will form the organ. What will organ form? It will form the organ system. What will organ system form? It will form the organism. What will organism form? It will form the population. What will population form? It will form the community. What will community form? It will form the ecosystem. What will ecosystem form? It will form the biomes. And finally, what will be forming? The biosphere will form, right? So basically what I mean to say is the diversity, the heterogeneity, it occurs at each and every level of the organization, starting from macromolecules to biomes to biosphere. At each and every level you will see the diversity. Say for example macromolecules की बात करते हैं, क्या only one type of macromolecule is found in living organisms? No, there are variety of macromolecules like polysaccharides, proteins, nucleic acids. What are these? These are the various types of the macromolecules. Okay, उसमें भी different types है. There are various types of proteins, there are various types of polysaccharides. So all this is called as what? Diversity. Same thing, organelles. Is there like that there is only one organelle? No, it is not like that. There are variety of organelles like membrane bound organelles, non membrane bound organelles. Membrane bound की examples देखे तो endoplasmic reticulum, mitochondria, plastids. Non membrane bound की बात करें तो ribosomes. Then cells. There are various types of cells. Various means large, many types of the cells are there. Then tissues. Again, there are various types of the tissues, different types of plant tissues, different types of animal tissues. These tissues result in the formation of organ. Is there like that कि एक ही organ है? No, there are many organs. Then organisms. Is that like that there is only one type of organism? No. Then population. Various populations are there. There is population of humans, there is populations of ants, there are population of mango trees. All this is variety. Community. That is, what is community? Different populations living in a basically area, that is called as a community. So community may be various variations. There is a pond community, there is a grassland community. This is called as the biotic community. Ecosystem. Various types of ecosystems are there. Forest ecosystem, then desert ecosystem, freshwater ecosystem, marine ecosystem, then biomes. All the varieties of the ecosystem forms biomes. So what I mean to say is at each and every level of the biological organization we see the diversity. So students, biodiversity, it is a Greek word. Bios means life, diversity means form, is a term popularized by sociobiologist Edward Wilson to describe the combined diversity at all levels of the biological organization. So what Edward Wilson said, he used the term biodiversity to describe the diversity at each and every level of the biological organization. It means diversity or heterogeneity at all the levels of bio organization, that is from macromolecules of the cells to biomass. Actually, it is written biomass, it should be biomes. So, from the macromolecules to biomes, we see the diversity, and that is called as the biodiversity. Now, there are various levels of biodiversity. The most important, I told that it is diversity is seen at each and every level. But in this chapter, we will study levels of biodiversity at genes level, species level, and ecological level. So, we will study genetic diversity, species diversity, and ecological diversity. So, first of all, let us study regarding the genetic diversity. Now, see, when we talk about the genes और basically एक particular species की बात करते हैं, no two organisms of same species they are exact copies of each other. कोई भी sexually reproducing organism हो and उसमें एक ही species के दो organisms कभी भी similar नहीं होते हैं. The variation arises in the genes. So, this variation in the genes within the species is called as the genetic diversity. We all are human beings, but are we exact copies of each other? No, we aren't. We are not exact copies of each other. Certain variations occur, and this variation occurs in the genes. So, variation in the genes within the organisms of the same species is called as the genetic diversity. This genetic diversity is responsible for variations. What do you mean by variations? Differences occurring within the individuals of same species. And it is the variation which is responsible for what? It is responsible for evolution. So, basically genetic diversity is the diversity, or you can say differences or variations occurring at the genetic level within the organisms of the same species. It is the diversity at genetic level or at subspecies level that is below the species level in a single species. It is related to the variation in genes within the species. Variations may be in different variants of same genes, that is alleles. अभी ये variations कहाँ पे हो सकते हैं? Variations alleles में हो सकते हैं. Variations may occur in the entire gene or it may also occur in the chromosomal structure. We are talking about genes level. तो genes में ये variations कहाँ कहाँ पे हो सकते हैं? Either in the different alleles of the genes, either in the entire gene, or it may occur in the complete chromosomal structure. A single species might show high diversity at genetic level over its distributional range. The genetic variation shown by the medicinal plant Rauwolfia vomitoria growing in different Himalayan ranges may be in terms of potency and concentration of active chemical reserpine that the plant produces. Now एक example दिए, एक medicinal plant है Rauwolfia vomitoria which is found in Himalayan regions. Now this plant shows great genetic variations and ये variation किसके term में है? It is in the term of the potency as well as in the concentration of an important chemical called as reserpine which this particular plant produces. Another example of the genetic diversity. India has more than 50,000 genetically strains of rice and 1,000 varieties of mango. So, ये क्या हुआ? Diversity हुई at the genes level. Okay. So, basically get 50,000 varieties of rice, 1,000 varieties of mangoes. It is nothing but it is in the differences which occurs in their genes. The genetic diversity can adapt better to the changed environmental conditions. The low diversity leads to the uniformity. The genetic variability is therefore considered to be a raw material for speciation. Speciation is the formation of the new species. So, genetic diversity होगे तो variations होगे and variations will lead to the speciation, that is formation of the new species. So, that is regarding the genetic diversity. Now next one is the species diversity. The measurement of the species diversity is its richness. Richness यानी number of species per unit area. How can we say particular area में कितने species है? पहले तो कितने species की varieties है? Okay, within each variety उन वो species के number क्या है? That all is considered as what? The species diversity. Say for example, if we consider a small area, वो small area में human population है, dog का population है, cat का population है, cow का population है, mango tree का population है, then there is a population of shoe flower, there is a population of rose plant. So ये सब different species हुई. Okay, this is also called as species diversity. अभी ये each and every species के कितने number है, that is also considered as the species diversity. So what is species diversity? It is richness in the species, that is number of species per unit area. It is related to the variety in number and richness of the species within the region. Variation in number of species, kinds of species, as well as the number of individual per species leads to the greater diversity. कितने number of species है, कितने kinds of species है, as well as number of individuals of each species, all this will lead to the greater biodiversity. The greater is the species richness, the more will be the species diversity. Example, the diversity at the species level. For example, the Western Ghats have greater amphibian species diversity than the Eastern Ghats. The last one is the ecological diversity. So basically it is related to the different ecosystems or habitats. Example, terrestrial ecosystems like forest, grassland, deserts, etc. and aquatic ecosystem like freshwater and marine ecosystems. So what is ecological diversity? Is it related to the different types of the ecosystems or habitats. Say for example, terrestrial ecosystem, aquatic ecosystem. So number of ecosystem or habitat it represents present in a region is a measure of also a biodiversity. एक particular region में कितने ecosystems है, कितने habitats है, all this is considered as the measure of the ecological biodiversity. Example, at ecosystem level, India for instance, with its desert, rain forest, mangroves, coral reefs, wetlands, estuaries and alpine meadows has a greater ecosystem diversity than a Scandinavian country like Norway. Now countries are explained कि दो, एक इंडिया है and एक नॉर्वे है. So India is having a greater ecosystem biodiversity compared to the Norway because we have deserts, we have rainforest, we have mangroves, we have coral reefs, wetlands, estuaries, alpine meadows, etc. So that is called as the ecological diversity. Now this ecological diversity can be divided into three types. Those three types are alpha diversity, beta diversity and gamma diversity. So what is alpha diversity? It is a diversity of the organisms within the same community. एक community में कितने organisms है? Diversity of the organisms in a same biotic community. It is called as the alpha diversity. Say for example, पॉन्ड कम्युनिटी है तो पॉन्ड में कितने टाइप के स्पीशीज है, कितने टाइप के ऑर्गेनिजम्स है, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज द अल्फा डाइवर्सिटी. बीटा डाइवर्सिटी इज बिटवीन कम्युनिटीज डाइवर्सिटी, बिटवीन दो कम्युनिटी. से फॉर एग्जांपल एक हैबिटेट है, वो हैबिटेट में ग्रासलैंड भी है, वो हैबिटेट में पॉन्ड भी है, वो हैबिटेट में ये दो चीज़ है, वन इज़ ग्रासलैंड एंड वन इज़ पॉन्ड. सो ये दोनों का जो कंपैरिजन होता है दैट इज़ कॉल्ड एज द बीटा डाइवर्सिटी, बिटवीन द कम्युनिटीज डाइवर्सिटी. And the last one is the gamma diversity, which is the diversity of the habitat in the entire or whole geographical area. कितने habitats है complete geographical area में? What is that considered? It is considered as the gamma diversity. So alpha diversity within a community diversity, beta between the communities diversity, and gamma, it is the diversity of the habitat in a whole geographical area. So that is regarding the ecological diversity. It has taken millions of years of evolution to accumulate this rich diversity in nature, but we could lose all the wealth in less than 2 centuries if the present rates of species losses continue. Now, evolution took millions of years. It was not a single day process, it was not a week process. The evolutionary process took millions of years. So it took millions of years to accumulate such a rich biodiversity. But जो प्रेजेंट रेट पे वो स्पीशीज का लॉस हो रहा है, इफ इट कंटिन्यूज, if the rate of species loss continue at this particular rate only, then we could lose all the biodiversity in less than 2 centuries. Biodiversity and its conservation are now vital environmental issues of international concern as more and more people around the world begin to realize the critical importance of biodiversity for survival and well-being on this planet. So now biodiversity and its conservation is a very important environmental issue of international concern, and more people of the world have begun to realize the importance of biodiversity for our survival. चलो खुद का दूसरे स्पीशीज का ना सोचे, अपना ही सोचे, फिर भी ये बायोडाइवर्सिटी का इम्पोर्टेंट बहुत ज़रूरी है. Now students, how many species are there on earth and how many in India? So this is again very important. यहाँ पे बहुत सारे numbers दिए गए हैं. These numbers are very important students. कौन से species के कितने numbers है? Again important for NEET as well as for your boards. Since there are published records of all the species discovered and named, we know how many species in all have been recorded so far, but it is not easy to answer the questions of how many species are there on earth. Now there is a published record of all the species discovered till now. अब तक जितनी species discovered हुई है उसके published record है. Okay? But it is not easy for us to answer the question कि अर्थ पे कितने स्पीशीज़ है, क्योंकि जितने डिस्कवर है उससे कहीं ज़्यादा स्पीशीज़ ऐसे हैं those which are not yet discovered. According to the International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources, that is IUCN, in 2004, the total number of the plant and animal species described so far is slightly more than 1.5 million, but we have no clear idea of how many species are yet to be discovered and described. So there is IUCN, which is called as International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources. According to them, the data published in 2004 states that the total number of plant and animal species described till now are 1.5 million, but we do not have the clear idea कि अभी तक कितने स्पीशीज डिस्कवर नहीं हुए हैं. How many species are yet to be discovered and described? We do not have any idea to this question. Estimates vary widely and many of them are only educated guesses. अभी सब एस्टिमेट्स, कोई ये बोलता है कि इतनी स्पीशीज़ होगी, कोई ये बोलेगा कि इतनी स्पीशीज़ होगी. So this varies, estimates they vary widely, and these are only the guesses. For many taxonomic groups, species inventories are more complete in temperate than in tropical countries. बहुत सारी taxonomic groups के लिए वो particular species complete हो चुकी है discovery के लिए in temperate regions than in the tropical regions. Considering that an overwhelmingly large proportion of species waiting to be discovered are in tropics, biologists make a statistical comparison of temperate tropical species richness of an exhaustively studied group of insects and extrapolate this ratio to other groups of animals and plants to come up with a gross estimate of total number of species on earth. Now, it is said कि ट्रॉपिक्स में तो बहुत सारी स्पीशीज अभी तक डिस्कवर नहीं है. देर आर लार्ज प्रपोर्शन ऑफ द स्पीशीज इन द ट्रॉपिकल रीजन विच आर वेटिंग टू बी डिस्कवर्ड. सो बायोलॉजिस्ट एक स्टेटिस्टिकल कंपैरिजन कर रहे हैं टेम्परेट एंड ट्रॉपिकल स्पीशीज रिचनेस के लिए in the groups of the insects. Okay, biologists they have make a statistical comparison of a temperate tropical species richness of exhaustively studied group of insects and extrapolate यानी क्या, प्रेडिक्ट करना, कोई भी चीज़ को प्रेडिक्ट करना ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ द नोन डेटा. टेम्परेट के डेटा नोन है, अभी वो टेम्परेट के डेटा, टेम्परेट रीजन के डेटा से दे आर प्रेडिक्टिंग द नंबर ऑफ द स्पीशीज इन द ट्रॉपिक्स. ओके, सो दैट इज कॉल्ड एज द एक्सट्रापोलेट. सो दे आर मेकिंग कंपैरिजन ऑफ द टेम्परेट ट्रॉपिकल स्पीशीज रिचनेस of an exhaustively studied group of insects and extrapolate this ratio to other groups of animals and plants to come up with the gross estimate of the total number of species on the earth. Insects के डेटा को यूज करके they are predicting the ratio of the other groups of animals and plants, जिससे वो ग्रॉस एस्टिमेट लगा सकते हैं कि कितने स्पीशीज आर प्रेजेंट ऑन द अर्थ. सम एक्सट्रीम एस्टिमेट्स रेंज फ्रॉम 20 to 50 मिलियन. कोई एस्टिमेट्स तो ये बोल रहे हैं कि देर आर 20 to 50 मिलियन स्पीशीज ऑफ द ऑर्गेनिजम्स ऑन अर्थ. बट अ मोर कंजर्वेटिव एंड साइंटिफिकली साउंड एस्टिमेट made by Robert May places the global species diversity at about 7 million. So Robert May ने, he is an ecologist and उसने scientifically जो estimate लगाया है, जो we believe कि according to him the global species diversity is approximately 7 million. According to Robert May, जिसकी scientific estimate है, and according to him is saying that there are approximately 7 million species on the earth. Let us look at some interesting aspects about Earth's biodiversity based on currently available species inventories. More than 70% of all the species recorded are animals. अब तक जितने species record हुए हैं, discover हुए हैं, उसमें से more than 70% of the species are of the animals. The remaining are plants, which includes algae, fungi, bryophytes, gymnosperms and angiosperms, which comprise no more than 22% of the total. So, of all the species discovered, 70% are of the animals, 22% is of the plants, and जो remaining है, कितना percent remaining है? So it is 8% remaining. This 8% remaining is the prokaryotic groups and certain microorganisms. Among animals also, insects are the most species rich taxonomic group making up more than 70% of the total. See, अर्थ पे जो टोटल ऑर्गेनिजम्स अब तक डिस्कवर हुए हैं उसमें से 70% क्या है, एनिमल्स है. ये 70% एनिमल्स में भी of all the animal species discovered till now, 70% of the animal species are what? They are of the insects. This means out of every 10 animals on this planet, 7 are insects. The number of fungi species in the world is more than the combined total species of amphibians, fishes, reptiles and mammals. So fungi की इतनी सारी species है कि जितनी टोटल स्पीशीज ऑफ फिशेस, एम्फीबियंस, रेप्टाइल्स एंड मैमल्स को कंबाइन करके जितनी स्पीशीज होती है उससे कई ज़्यादा स्पीशीज किसकी है, फंजाई की है. दिस इज अ डायग्राम which represents the global biodiversity in the plants, invertebrates and vertebrates. So in vertebrates में आप देख सकते हो कि maximum area is occupied by what? It is by the insects. Then comes the mollusk, then comes the crustaceans and finally other group animals जिसमें बाकी सब groups ये group में included है. Vertebrates में when I talk, the maximum of the vertebrates are fishes, then the number is of birds, then comes the reptiles, then comes the mammals and finally आप देख सकते हो कि mammals and amphibians approximately same है. Now the species diversity or you can say in the plants में आप देखोगे तो angiosperms and fungi approximately similar है, fungi थोड़ी ज़्यादा है compared to angiosperms. Then comes algae, then comes mosses and ferns and finally the lichens. This particular chart is very diagram chart कुछ भी बोलो, it is very 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 important for boards as well as for your NEET MCQs. It should be noted that these estimates do not give any figures of prokaryotes. आपने 70% एनिमल है, 22% प्लांट्स है, एनिमल्स में से भी 70% एनिमल्स वो है, इंसेक्ट्स है. फिर हमने चार्ट देखा कि उसमें कितने वर्टिब्रेट्स है, कितने इनवर्टिब्रेट्स है, प्लांट्स में कितने कितने का क्या रेशियो, ये सब देखा. बट ये जो डेटा हमने देखा, there is no mentioning about there is no information regarding the prokaryotes. Biologists are not sure about many prokaryotic species, how many prokaryotic species there might be. Biologists, they are not knowing कि prokaryotes के कितनी species होगी. We know that prokaryotes, they are unicellular organism. It is said that in a spoonful of soil more than million bacteria will be present. So biologists, they are not aware, they are not sure कि कितने prokaryotic species होंगे. Why are the biologists not sure about the prokaryotic species? There are 3 reasons mentioned which is very 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 important, students. This is because of the following reasons. The conventional taxonomic methods are not useful for identifying the microbial species. जो taxonomy की methods use हो रही है अभी, the modern conventional taxonomical method यानी the science which deals with the description, classification of organism. So ये जो conventional taxonomic method है, those are not applicable to identify the microbial species. The second reason is many species are simply not culturable under laboratory condition. Most of the prokaryotic species are not able to grow in the laboratory culture conditions. हम मैक्सिमम प्रोकैरियोटिक स्पीशीज को लेबोरेटरी कंडीशन में कल्चर नहीं कर सकते, ग्रो नहीं कर सकते. As we cannot grow them, we are unable to study them. If we accept biochemical and molecular criteria for delineating the species of this group, then their diversity alone might run into millions. Now, suppose if we use the biochemical and molecular criteria to identify the or to describe the species of this group, then it is said कि ये पर्टिकुलर ग्रुप के ही ऑर्गेनिज्म के स्पीशीज मिलियंस में पहुंच जाएंगे, क्योंकि सब माइक्रोब्स के जो बायोकेमिकल या मॉलिक्यूलर स्ट्रक्चर है सबके डिफरेंट है. So these are the three reasons why we are not able to study or we are unable to predict how many prokaryotic species there could be. The first reason is normal taxonomical methods are not applicable to identify the microbial species. The most of the prokaryotic species are unable to grow or unable to culture in the laboratory condition. And finally, if biochemical or molecular criteria is adopted to identify this species, then the diversity of this particular group alone will reach up to millions. So these are the three reasons why the prokaryotic diversity is not studied, or we are not sure about how many prokaryotic species there could be present on the earth. Now ये वर्ल्ड लेवल की बायोडाइवर्सिटी की बात की. Now we will study the biodiversity in India. Although India has only 2.4% of the world's land area, its share of the global species diversity is an impressive 8.1%. Of the total world land cover, India has only 2.4% of the land. जब लैंड की बात करते हैं वर्ल्ड में, तो उसमें टोटल वर्ल्ड लैंड में से इंडिया कवर्स ओनली 2.4% ऑफ द लैंड. बट in on this 2.4% land, there are approximately 8.1% global species on the earth. Of the total discovered species, 8.1% of the species are present in our country. So though land cover is less, but we are rich in the species diversity. This is what makes our country one of the 12 mega diversity countries of the world. As we are rich in the global species diversity, we are one of the 12 mega biodiversity country. Now what are mega diversity countries? They are the world's top biodiversity rich country. ये वर्ल्ड की ऐसी कंट्रीज है विच इज़ वेरी मच रिचर इन द बायोडाइवर्सिटी. इट मीन्स दिस कंट्री एग्जिबिट्स द ग्रेट बायोडाइवर्सिटी. So of the 12 mega biodiversity country, one of the country is India. The reason is we share the approximately 8.1% of the total global species diversity. Nearly 45,000 species of plant and twice as many of animals have been recorded from India. Of all the species of plants and animals known, 45,000 species of the plants and double species of the animals have been recorded in our country. How many living species are actually there waiting to be discovered and named? चलो ये डाइवर्सिटी अपनी कंट्री की हो गई. नाउ देर आर हाउ मैनी स्पीशीज के जिसका अभी तक डिस्कवरी या नेमिंग नहीं हुआ है. सो इफ वी एक्सेप्ट रॉबर्ट मेज ग्लोबल एस्टिमेट, ओनली 22% ऑफ द टोटल स्पीशीज हैव बीन रिकॉर्डेड so far. So according to Robert May, he is telling, he is an ecologist, according to him, only 22% of the total species have been discovered or recorded. Of all the species, only 22% is recorded. So what does it mean? 78% of the species are yet to be discovered. Applying this proportion to India's diversity figures, we estimate that there are probably more than 1 lakh plant species and more than 3 lakh animal species yet to be discovered and described. Okay, according to Robert May, there are 22% of the species which have been discovered, only 22%. Remaining is yet to be discovered. So अगर ये रॉबर्ट मे की जो estimates है, if these estimates are applied to the Indian biodiversity figures, then India में it is said that approximately 1 lakh plant के species है and 3 lakh animal के species है. इसमें से कितने डिस्कवर हुए? सिर्फ 45,000 प्लांट के डिस्कवर हुए हैं and you can say approximately near to 1 lakh animal species have been discovered. Now, another question. Would we ever be able to complete the inventory of the biological wealth of our country? क्या हम कभी भी टोटल डिस्कवर कर सकते हैं कि अपनी कंट्री में कितना बायोलॉजिकल वेल्थ है? It is not at all possible. Consider the immense trained manpower, that is taxonomists, and the time required to complete the job. The situation appears more hopeless when we realize that large fraction of this species faces the threat of becoming extinct even before we discover them. Okay. क्वेश्चन ये था कि क्या हम कभी भी एस्टिमेट लगा पाएंगे टोटल ऑल कैन वी नो ईच एंड एवरी बायोलॉजिकल वेल्थ ऑफ आवर कंट्री, कैन वी नो ईच एंड एवरी स्पीशीज विच आर प्रेजेंट इन आवर कंट्री? कंसिडर करो द मैन पावर एंड द टाइम रिक्वायर्ड टू कंप्लीट द जॉब. अगर ये दोनों चीज़ सोचे देन इट इज़ नॉट पॉसिबल. एंड दूसरा, अभी ये सिचुएशन ऐसी हो चुकी है कि व्हेन वी रियलाइज द फ्रैक्शन कि बहुत सारे ऐसे स्पीशीज़ है विच आर ऑन द वर्ज ऑफ एक्सटिंक्शन, ऐसे स्पीशीज़ है विच आर गोइंग टू बिकम एक्सटिंक्ट टिल वी डिस्कवर देम. So the situation becomes more hopeless when we realize that a large fraction of this species faces the threat of becoming extinct even before we discover them. Nature's biological library is burning even before we catalog the titles of all the books stocked there. Okay, nature का जो biological wealth है, library here indicates wealth, it is burning. क्यों? इवन बिफोर वो लाइब्रेरी में क्या कौन सी बुक्स है, क्या है, उसको जाने ही बिना उसका स्टॉक खत्म हो रहा है. नाउ I told you 12 mega diversity according to your book, but now there are 15 mega diversity countries of the world. The names of those countries are USA, Mexico, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Venezuela, Brazil, Democratic Republic of Congo, South Africa, Madagascar, India, Philippines, Papua and New Guinea, China and Australia. So these are the mega biodiversity countries of the world. Now patterns of biodiversity. Biodiversity एक particular pattern को follow करती है. So first is the latitudinal gradients. The diversity of plants and animals is not uniform throughout the world but shows a rather uneven distribution. क्या each and every place on the earth have same types of plants and animals? No. The diversity of plants and animals is not uniform throughout. It is uneven. There is uneven distribution of the plants and animals. जो plants and animals deserts में होते हैं वो polar में नहीं होंगे, जो polar में नहीं होंगे वो equator पे नहीं होंगे, tropical rain forest में different plants होंगे, deciduous forest में different organisms होंगे. So the distribution of plants and animals in the world is not uniform, right? For many groups of animals or plants, there are interesting patterns in biodiversity. The most well-known being the latitudinal gradient in the diversity. So, we see the interesting patterns in the distribution of plants and animals. And one of the most well-known pattern is the latitudinal gradient. In general, Species diversity decreases as we move away from equator towards the pole. आप इक्वेटर से पोल की तरफ जाओगे, then the species diversity will decrease, and vice versa. If we move from poles to equators, then the diversity will increase. With very few exceptions, ट्रॉपिक्स के जहाँ पे लेटिट्यूडिनल रेंज है 23.5 नॉर्थ टू 23.5 डिग्री साउथ, हार्बर मोर स्पीशीज देन द टेम्परेट और पोलर एरियाज. सो ट्रॉपिक्स विल हैव, ट्रॉपिक्स के जिसका लेटिट्यूडिनल रेंज है 23.5 डिग्री नॉर्थ टू 23.5 डिग्री साउथ, यहाँ पे स्पीशीज ज़्यादा होगी कंपेयर टू टेम्परेट और पोलर रीजन्स. अभी ये लैटिट्यूड से लैटिट्यूड इंक्रीज होता जाएगा तो स्पीशीज डाइवर्सिटी क्या होती जाएगी? इट विल कीप ऑन डिक्रीजिंग. कोलंबिया, which is located near the equator, has nearly 1400 species of birds, while New York at 41 degree north has 105 species, and Greenland, which is at 71 degree north, has only 56 species. इक्वेटर से जैसे दूर जा रहे हो तो क्या हो रहा है? स्पीशीज के नंबर डिक्रीज हो रहे हैं. सी द एग्जाम्पल इज गिवन. कोलंबिया इज लोकेटेड नियर इक्वेटर, तो वहाँ पे बर्ड्स की स्पीशीज अप्रॉक्सीमेटली 1400 है. अभी न्यूयॉर्क इट इज़ एट द 41 डिग्री नॉर्थ, वहाँ पे 105 स्पीशीज है. एंड ग्रीनलैंड विच इज़ एट 71 डिग्री नॉर्थ, वहाँ पे सिर्फ 56 स्पीशीज है. सो जैसे जैसे इक्वेटर से दूर होते जाओगे, द नंबर ऑफ स्पीशीज विल कीप ऑन रिड्यूसिंग. इंडिया, with much of its land area in tropical latitudes, has more than 1200 species of the bird. Our country, it is most of its land cover is in the tropical latitudes. Most of our land lies in tropical latitude, and hence we have more than 1200 species of the birds. A forest in a tropical region like Ecuador has up to 10 times as many species of vascular plant as a forest of equal area in temperate region like Midwest of USA. एक कंपैरिजन दिया है कि दो फॉरेस्ट है, ये दोनों फॉरेस्ट का एरिया सेम है, बट वन ऑफ द फॉरेस्ट इज इन द ट्रॉपिकल रीजन लाइक इक्वेडर, एंड एक फॉरेस्ट है इट इज़ इन द टेम्परेट रीजन like Midwest. One is in tropical region, one is in the temperate region. ये दोनों फॉरेस्ट के एरिया कैसे है? सेम है, बट द नंबर ऑफ द प्लांट्स इन द ट्रॉपिक्स आर मोर कंपेयर टू द नंबर ऑफ द प्लांट्स इन द टेम्परेट रीजन. द लार्जली tropical Amazonian rainforest in South America has greatest biodiversity on earth. So tropical Amazonian rainforest is of which is present in South America. It has the greatest biodiversity of the world in the earth. It has more than 40,000 species of plant, 3,000 species of fishes, 1,300 birds, 427 mammals, 427 amphibians, 378 reptiles, and more than 1,25,000 invertebrates. These numbers are very, very, very important. If we talk about the biodiversity of the Amazonian rainforest of the South America, then कितने plant के species है? 40,000, fish के 3,000, birds 1,300, 427 mammals and amphibians, 378 reptiles, and more than 1,25,000 invertebrates are present. And scientists, they believe that at least 2 million insects के species है Amazon rainforest में, which are yet to be discovered. Scientists estimate that in these rainforests there might be at least 2 million insect species waiting to be discovered and named. So question arises, why is there more biodiversity in tropics compared to the temperate region? क्यों ट्रॉपिक्स में more diversity है compared to the temperate region? What is so special about tropics that might account for their greater biological diversity? Very important student question. Ecologists and evolutionary biologists have proposed various hypotheses. Some important one are, okay, certain ecologists and evolutionary biologists ने hypothesis दी है. They have given or they have proposed certain conclusions या they have predicted certain conclusions कि क्यों ट्रॉपिक्स में बायोडाइवर्सिटी ज़्यादा है एंड टेम्परेट में कम है. So some of the reasons are, first is speciation. Speciation is formation of new species. It is generally a function of time. Formation of new species is a function of time. Unlike temperate regions subjected to frequent glaciations in past, tropical latitudes have remained relatively undisturbed for millions of years and thus had a long evolutionary time for species diversification. First reason is speciation. Speciation is occurring which is a function of time. सो टेम्परेट रीजन में ग्लेशिएशंस पास्ट में बहुत हुए, उसकी वजह से वहाँ पे प्रॉपर टाइम नहीं मिला. ग्लेशिएशंस होने की वजह से वहाँ पे एनवायरमेंटल कंडीशंस चेंज होती गई. बट दिस ग्लेशिएशंस डिड नॉट अकर इन द ट्रॉपिकल रीजन्स. ट्रॉपिकल रीजन्स हैव रिमेन अनचेंज फॉर द वेरियस पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. दे हैव रिमेन अनचेंज फॉर मिलियंस ऑफ ईयर्स. एस वहाँ पे कोई उतना ज़्यादा एनवायरमेंटल कंडीशन चेंज नहीं हुआ, तो क्या हुआ, इवोल्यूशन होने के लिए प्रॉपर टाइम मिला एंड दैट लेड टू द डाइवर्सिफिकेशन ऑफ द स्पीशीज. द सेकेंड वन इज ट्रॉपिकल environments unlike temperate one are less seasonal, relatively more constant and predictable. Such constant environments promote niche specialization and lead to the greater species diversity. जो ट्रॉपिकल एनवायरनमेंट है लेस सीजनल है, वहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा सीजनल चेंजेस नहीं आते हैं. वेरएज टेम्परेट रीजन्स और टेम्परेट इन्वायरमेंट आर मोर सीजनल. मोर सीजनल है तो चेंजेस आती ही रहेगी. सो एज द ट्रॉपिकल आर लेस सीजनल, they are more constant, and the constant environment they promote niche specialization which lead to the greater species diversity. The last reason is there is more solar energy available in tropics which contributes to higher productivity. This in turn might contribute indirectly to the greater diversity. The last reason is amount of the solar energy available. More solar energy is available in tropics compared to the temperates. Now more solar energy means plants can utilize more sunlight, which in turn leads to the higher productivity. And higher productivity, as amount of food is available more, it contributes to the greater species diversity. So these are the three reasons. First is speciation, second one is the seasons, and last one is the solar energy. These are the three reasons which are responsible for the more species diversity in tropics compared to the temperate regions. The second pattern is the species area relationships. It is said कि जैसे जैसे area increase होगा, the number of the species also keeps on increasing, but it is up to certain limits. During his pioneering and extensive explorations in the wilderness of South American jungles, the great German naturalist and geographer Alexander von Humboldt observed that within a region, species richness increased with the increasing explored area, but only up to a limit. So, there is a German naturalist whose name is Alexander von Humboldt. He was studying, or basically he was exploring the South American jungles, and during his study he found that जैसे जैसे उसका एरिया एक्सप्लोरेशन का एरिया इंक्रीज होता गया, वैसे वैसे स्पीशीज रिचनेस भी इंक्रीज हुई, बट दिस वाज ओनली अप टू द लिमिटेड एरिया. In fact, the relationship between the species richness and area of a wide variety of taxa like angiosperm plants, birds, bats, freshwater fishes, etc., it turns out to be a rectangular hyperbola. So, relation between the area and species richness, when plotted, it gives us a graph like a rectangular hyperbola. On a logarithmic scale, the relationship is a straight line. This is a log scale, which is described by the equation log S is equal to log C plus Z log A, where S is the species richness, A is the area, Z is the slope of line, that is regression coefficient, and C is the y-intercept. And this is called as the logarithmic scale, which gives us the straight line. Ecologists have discovered that the value of Z lies in the range of 0.1 to 0.2 regardless of the taxonomic group or the region. Now, ecologists believe कि ये Z value it lies between 0.1 to 0.2 regardless of the taxonomic group. कोई भी taxonomic group हो, चाहे वो birds का group हो, चाहे वो mollusks का group हो, the value of Z lies between 0.1 to 0.2. Whether it is a plant in Britain, birds in California, mollusks in New York State, the slopes of the lines of regression are amazingly similar. But if you analyze the species area relationship among a very large area like entire continent, you will find that the slope of the line would be much steeper. Okay. But if we study the species area relationship in the large area like a complete continent, then the Z values will be much steeper. They may range from 0.6 to 1.2. For example, for frugivorous, that is fruit-eating birds and mammals in the tropical forest of the different continents, the slope is found to be 1.15. So, what do the steeper slopes mean in this context? Steeper slope means the number of species, it is increasing faster than compared to the area explored. So, steeper slope signifies that the number of species found increases faster than the area explored in very large areas like entire continents. Now, what is the importance of the species diversity to the ecosystem? How the species diversity is important to ecosystem? Does the number of species in a community really matter to the functioning of ecosystem? क्या community में कोई भी organisms के कितने number है? Does it really matter to the functioning of the ecosystem? This is a question for which ecologists have not been able to give a definite answer. ये question के लिए there is no perfect answer given. For many decades, ecologists believed that communities with more species generally tend to be more stable than those with the less species. Okay, it is believed by the ecologists that those community which have more species, they are more stable than the community which is having the less species. So, what exactly is the stability of the biological community? What is a stable biological community? So, this is very, very important. A stable community should show the following characteristic. There are certain features which needs to be shown by the stable community. So which are those features or characteristics? It does not show too much variation in productivity from year to year. यानी प्रोडक्टिविटी में कोई भी ज़्यादा वेरिएशंस नहीं आएंगे year to year. The productivity normally will remain constant. The productivity remains constant. The second characteristic, it must be either resistant or resilient to the occasional disturbances which may be either natural or man-made. A community should be resistant or resilient. Resilient यानी it should be strong enough to deal with the change and कुछ डैमेज हुआ तो वो डैमेज को उसको रिकवर करना चाहिए. सो आइदर रेजिस्ट करे वो चेंज को या चेंज आए तो उसको वो रेजिलिएट करे. सो इट शुड बी आइदर रेजिस्टेंट और इट शुड बी रेजिलियंट टू द ओकेशनल डिस्टर्बेंसेस. कोई भी कम्युनिटी में ओकेशनल डिस्टर्बेंसेस आएंगे. वो डिस्टर्बेंसेस मैन मेड भी हो सकते हैं, नेचुरल भी हो सकते हैं. जैसे कोई कम्युनिटी में ड्रॉट हुआ, रेनफॉल हुआ, एक्सेस रेनफॉल हुआ, फ्लड्स आए, इट मीन सो ये कंडीशन में ये जो कम्युनिटी है वो कैसी होनी चाहिए, रेजिस्ट करनी चाहिए या फिर इट शुड बी रेजिलियंट. कोई भी डिस्टर्बेंसेस आए, इट शुड बी एबल टू विथस्टैंड दैट पर्टिकुलर डिस्टर्बेंसेस. It should also be resistant to the invasion by the alien species. वो कम्युनिटी में कोई बाहर का स्पीशीज भी आए फिर भी वो कम्युनिटी को उससे रेजिस्टेंट होना चाहिए. सो दिस आर द थ्री. से फॉर एग्जांपल एक कम्युनिटी है, एक पॉन्ड है कम्युनिटी है, कोई भी एक कम्युनिटी है. वो कम्युनिटी में पहले एक कोई स्पीशीज नहीं थी, बाद में वो स्पीशीज वो कम्युनिटी में आई. तो वो स्पीशीज जब वो कम्युनिटी में आई, देन कम्युनिटी इट शुड रेजिस्ट to the invasion by the alien species, that particular new species. So these are the three characteristics a stable community must show. It should not show too much variation in productivity. It should be resistant or resilient to the occasional disturbances, as well as it should be also resistant to invasion by the alien species. David Tillman, through his long-term ecosystem experiments using outdoor plots, provided some tentative answers and concrete evidences of link between species richness and stable community. David Tillman ने अपनी experiments से वॉट इज़ द रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन, उसने एक लिंक प्रोवाइड की बिटवीन द स्पीशीज रिचनेस एंड स्टेबल कम्युनिटी. ही टोल्ड अस हाउ स्पीशीज रिचनेस and stable community are linked with each other. Tillman found that plots with more species showed less year-to-year variation in total biomass, that is constant productivity in biomass. टिलमैन ने ये एनालाइज किया कि द कम्युनिटी विच वॉज मोर इन स्पीशीज, जो प्लॉट्स पे ज़्यादा स्पीशीज थे, दैट स्पीशीज showed less variation in the total biomass, right? Yani it showed the constant productivity in the biomass. He also showed that in his experiment increased diversity contributed to the higher productivity. उसने ये भी किया कि जो प्लॉट्स में डाइवर्सिटी ज़्यादा थी वहाँ पे प्रोडक्टिविटी भी ज़्यादा थी. Although we may not understand completely how species richness contributes to the well-being of an ecosystem, we know enough to realize that rich biodiversity is not only essential for the ecosystem health but also imperative or important or essential for the survival of the human race on this planet. Now, how species richness contributes to the well-being of ecosystem? चलो स्पीशीज रिचनेस इकोसिस्टम के लिए कैसे इम्पोर्टेंट है उससे हमें कोई लेना नहीं देना नहीं है, या वी डोंट अंडरस्टैंड हाउ इट इज़, बट वी रियलाइज कि रिच बायोडाइवर्सिटी इज एसेंशियल not only for the ecosystem health but it is also important for the survival of the human beings on the planet. At a time when we are losing species at an alarming pace, one might ask, does it really matter to us if few species become extinct? थोड़े बहुत species extinct हो जाएगी तो क्या हमें कुछ affect होगा? Would Western Ghats ecosystem be less functional if one of its tree frog species is lost forever? How is our quality of life affected if, say, instead of 20,000, only we have 15,000 ant species on the earth? There are no direct answers to such new questions. ये सब questions ऐसे सोचो कि थोड़े बहुत स्पीशीज एक्सटिंक्ट हो जाएंगे, वेस्टर्न घाट के एक ट्री का फ्रॉग स्पीशीज एक्सटिंक्ट हो जाएगा, 20,000 एंट में से 15,000 एंट स्पीशीज ही रह जाएगी, तो क्या वो अपनी लाइफ को अफेक्ट करेगा? ये सब क्वेश्चंस के कोई भी डायरेक्ट आंसर्स नहीं है. इसके आंसर्स को अंडरस्टैंड करने के लिए देयर इज अ राइवेट-पॉपर हाइपोथेसिस. So what is Rivett-Popper hypothesis? We will study that. Rich biodiversity is not only essential for ecosystem health, but it is also imperative for the very survival of the human race on this planet. Since all the species on the earth are interlinked through various types of relationship, a loss of few species can have a destabilizing effect. Each and every species on the earth, they are interlinked with the various types of relationship. So, agar few species, if they are lost, if they are extinct, then it could have the destabilizing effect. Paul Ehrlich, a Stanford ecologist, explained the importance of the diversity by an analogy of the Rivett-Popper hypothesis. Paul Ehrlich ने बायोडाइवर्सिटी का क्या इम्पोर्टेंस है उसको एक्सप्लेन करने के लिए ही गेव द राइवेट-पॉपर hypothesis. Analogy, it is a comparison between the two things that shows a way in which they are similar. See students, उसने कैसे ये एक्सप्लेन किया कि बायोडाइवर्सिटी कैसे इम्पोर्टेंट है. According to this hypothesis, ecosystem is like an airplane. All of its parts are joined through thousands of rivets which are species. So basically rivet ने क्या बोला, एयरप्लेन को कंसिडर किया इकोसिस्टम से. So what is airplane? It is an ecosystem. And airplane के जो rivets है, what are rivets? They are the frames which basically rivets are the structures or parts which are used to assemble the frame of an airplane. So what he said कि in airplane which is the ecosystem, airplane को ecosystem consider किया, and airplane के जो rivets है उसको उसने किसके साथ compare किया? Species. So airplane ecosystem is the airplane, and all the parts of the airplane are linked by the thousands of rivets. Okay, or you can say rivets are nothing. Here it is a species. Now, if every passenger traveling in it starts popping a rivet to take home, causing a species to become extinct, it may not affect the flight safety, that is proper functioning of the ecosystem initially. But as more and more rivets are removed, the plane becomes dangerously weak over a period of time. अभी क्या बोला, एयरप्लेन में जो पैसेंजर्स बैठे हैं, every time a passenger, every passenger of the airplane, अगर वो राइवेट को रिमूव करेगा, राइवेट को हमने किसके साथ कंपेयर किया है? स्पीशीज़ को. सो एवरी टाइम और एवरी पैसेंजर एक एक राइवेट रिमूव करता जाएगा और अपने घर पे लेकर जाएगा, तो व्हाट डज इट मीन? दैट पर्टिकुलर स्पीशीज इज बिकमिंग एक्सटिंक्ट. ओके, नाउ ये इनिशियली राइवेट जो रिमूव होगा वो फ्लाइट के ऑपरेशन को इनिशियली कोई इफ़ेक्ट नहीं देगा. ओके, यानी इनिशियली इकोसिस्टम के फंक्शनिंग में कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं आएगी अगर स्पीशीज रिमूव हुए. बट जैसे जैसे मोर एंड मोर स्पीशीज आर रिमूव्ड, मोर एंड मोर राइवेट्स आर रिमूव्ड, प्लेन क्या हो जाएगा? वीक हो जाएगी. व्हाट डज इट मीन? इफ मोर एंड मोर species are removed, the ecosystem will become weak. Now, furthermore, which rivet is removed is also very critical. कौन से राइवेट को रिमूव कर रहे हैं? अगेन दैट इज ऑल्सो इम्पॉर्टेंट. Loss of the rivets on the wings, which are the key species that drive major ecosystem function, is obviously more serious threat to the flight safety than loss of few rivets on seats or windows plate inside the plane. Okay, राइवेट्स निकाल रहे हैं, चलो समझे अभी कौन से राइवेट्स निकाल रहे हो यानी कौन से स्पीशीज निकाल रहे हो, दैट इज ऑल्सो इम्पॉर्टेंट. इफ वी आर रिमूविंग अ स्पीशीज which is the main species carrying out the functioning of the ecosystem, then that would be very dangerous. जैसे कि अगर हमने विंग के राइवेट को रिमूव किया सो वो डेंजरस है. It is more dangerous compared to the loss of the more rivets of the inner side of the plane, like on the seats and windows. So that is explaining the importance of the species in the biodiversity. So I end my lecture here. Now in next lecture we will be discussing few more topics related to the biodiversity. Thank you students.